to.
Okay. We can talk about drama. Excellent. I'm so glad that you're down. Okay, so you're familiar with the fact that I made a video about everyone's favorite streamer, Sneako.
Yeah.
You're familiar? Okay. All right, so everyone's favorite streamer, Sneako. Let's just put it like this. He has been on an arc, okay? He goes on many arcs. He goes on little adventures. For you or for me, an adventure might be like, I'm going to be a clown for a few weeks. I'm going to learn how to become a clown, whatever. His little adventures are like, okay, I'm on the pedophile arc. I'm on the Jewish question arc, okay? I'm on the, what would it be? Like, women have no rights arc, okay?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so... pretty funny, pretty comedic stuff, but the crux of it is that he really, apparently, at least he claims to be completely serious in these arcs. I mean, obviously it's partially for content. The guy wants, he's like, this is juicy. My audience wants something that's offensive and fucked up and whatever, and I'm going to lean into it and whatever. But then he like fully does embody like the arguments and whatever, and to the point where it's like, whether he believes it or he doesn't believe it, it's like, I mean, he might as well just believe it, right? Like, it's the same difference. Anyway, so basically our boy Sneako, he, I don't know, have you heard anything about the Ava Chris Tyson, allegations or whatever?
Tell me everything.
Whoa, this is a lot to lay out.
I'm
okay.
scared.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You know what? This is we'll just take this as like a de facto story time, even though this is not necessarily fun information. It's probably a net negative to your life, but it's fine. Good friend of the channel, okay? Jimmy, MrBeast, all right? I grew up with this guy, all right? There's a reason.
Okay, you grew up, okay.
Right, there's a reason that he follows me on Twitter, okay? And it's because, I was there at his baptism. Anyway, jokes aside, though, our good friend Jimmy Beast, he had another friend who was a better friend, unfortunately, than I was to him. And his name is Chris, his name was Chris, my bad. And then they transitioned and became Ava Chris Tyson. Okay. And effectively what has happened is that a lot of Discord leaks have come out from when Ava Chris Tyson, at the time just Chris Tyson, was 19 to 20 years old, give or take, and they were moderating MrBeast Discords as well as his own Discord. And it turns out that he was sharing effectively lolly porn or whatever with underage individuals. Now, I'm not going to claim to know the full extent of what exactly went down here. There's yet to be, from what I've seen, there's yet to be any like actual true signs of like, oh, he was fully predating on these kids. Like he was actually trying to, whatever. But he was absolutely like, whatever, inappropriately, just like sharing these kinds of things with like kids, whatever. He was making jokes at the time. He was making jokes on Twitter. Basically like messing around, like joking around with like younger, I guess, guys or whatever, like 14, 15-year-olds, joking about like sending them nudes, but he was posting that publicly. So it was like kind of his sense of humor, but also the big reason it's controversial is because they were a supporter of an individual called Shadman. Okay. So Shadman's like, picture like the literal Joker of like the commentary community. Okay. Yeah, like a clown type guy.
Yeah. Except
this clown is a little bit, maybe as sinister as Joker, but like, it's a little bit more depraved, I would say. So Shadman's claim to fame is drawing like lolly, content or whatever.
Okay.
And a big part of why he is so controversial is because he would, at some points, depict real children as lolly characters, sexualized in whatever context. And so, have you ever heard of the term Keemstar?
Yeah.
You have? Okay.
I think so.
Keemstar, also a friend of the channel. That's my uncle. Keemstar has a daughter, and at some point...
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm really scared.
This is, no, I know. This is good stuff that I deal with on a daily basis here.
Just say it.
This is, this ain't clown school. Let me just tell you, okay? Anyway, but this is like clown prison. We're locked in. It's like Arkham Asylum out here. Okay, so Keemstar, again, my uncle. He got into a small-scale beef with this Shadman individual, basically just calling him a fucking weirdo, whatever it was. It doesn't really matter. The point is that Shadman clapped back by just drawing his daughter, okay? Now, he drew Keemstar's daughter and put the picture of her on his website. I believe it was called Shad Base or something like that.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter. But the point is, the first time that he drew Keemstar's daughter, it was not, I guess, overtly sexual or something.
But to put it in that context
exactly,
of his other pictures.
Yes, exactly. So it's like basically his website is more or less like a porn website, and then they post a picture of his daughter, and then over time, allegedly, but I'm pretty sure it's just true. Like he escalated it to actually depicting the daughter. I think it was something like giving oral to Donald Trump or something like that. So basically, like bad guy, fucking should be burned at the stake, etc., etc. But the whole controversy is coming now because Ava, Chris Tyson, and again, at the time, just Chris Tyson, they were like a fan of Shadman. And to contextualize it, a lot of fucking people were fans of Shadman, believe it or not, which sounds fucking insane.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but to understand the kind of depravity that was like allowed and like kind of encouraged, or at the very least tolerated in 2016 era YouTube. This is now 8 years ago, right? Everyone acts like that was like 45 years ago, but 8 years ago, it's true that like, people were more, whatever you would say, like edgy, I guess you could say. Basically, it's complicated because a lot of the people in the commentary community at the time, they thought that Shadman was funny, right? Like it's like satire to a certain degree, whatever you'd say.
Okay.
So there was like an argument to be made of like, okay, that's fucked up that he did that. That's absolutely fucked up, but it's like a freedom of speech thing or whatever bullshit, right? Now, we don't need to have any opinions about any of that, okay? Even though the opinions would probably be very obvious. But the crux of it is that Ava Chris Tyson, at the time, totally a fan, enough of a fan that they bought basically a poster from Shadman, not of any real girl or whatever, but like, a character that this Shadman guy drew. Okay, so with that context, now we have Sneako. Okay, so known guy who just is anti-woke, I guess you could say, right? So he's like, he's against gay people, more or less. He's like thinks that's a complete sin. Like he wouldn't be friends with people that are gay, apparently. He believes that, I believe he's argued before women shouldn't have rights or something like that, or at least the right to vote, something like that. And he also is hardcore against like trans indoctrination. Okay, so now we have this complicated cocktail where guess what else?
What?
Sneako was also one of our childhood friends. Me, MrBeast, at the time, Chris Tyson, and Sneako. Sneako actually, unironically, was employed by MrBeast about 8-9 years ago.
I know, I saw your video.
Okay, yeah. And so Sneako gets this, like, he gets to basically, now that this controversy around Ava Chris Tyson, MrBeast's best friend, now that this is emerging, right, Sneako gets to be like, I knew these guys. Of course, they were saying slurs all the time. Of course, these guys are like, whatever, they're always fucking around. But on top of that, he basically positions it as Ava Chris Tyson is more or less demonic, not necessarily because they were, messaging, I guess, minors with like, suggestive material or whatever, because they're trans. And because basically MrBeast is, trying to basically push a trans agenda or something like this, right? Now, on top of all of that, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that Sneako is, I guess you could say, like jumping on the bandwagon or canceling Ava Chris Tyson because of the like grooming allegations or whatever.
Okay.
Because this is the whole thing. Sneako believes that grooming is not bad. Okay. This is like his thing. So it's like he basically views it as like
because he likes Andrew Tate.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, he likes Andrew Tate, and he has gone through a, I guess you could say, Islamic arc, right? Like he fully converted to Islam in a similar vein to Andrew Tate. And for some reason, he really kept encountering this, like, I guess, contradiction or whatever, where it's like, okay, people basically like Destiny. You're familiar with Destiny?
Yeah.
Okay, someone like Destiny would basically say...
Wait, I'm banned from Destiny's Reddit.
How did you get banned from Destiny's Reddit?
The secret. Okay, keep going.
A secret? Okay, chat. We're gonna unveil this secret at some point in this stream. I'm gonna keep digging. All right, chat. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so we're basically just unearthing, the full relative context. Okay, kind of simplified context for what we're about to describe, which is the battle between Mosticritical and Sneako. Okay, all right, and so where was I? I was at the point where I was talking about, oh yeah, Sneako is in, I guess, an Islamic arc or whatever.
Right now? Arc or past?
He went through an Islamic arc.
Yeah.
And he is kind of rekindling it to go through. And again, this is like a meta game for him. It's like, how fucked up can my opinions be? Okay, so he's already ran through the Jewish question. All right, that was an arc.
Okay.
He ran through whatever woman hating arc, obviously, whatever. There's like many arcs he's run through, but now he's like really leaning into the there should not be an age of consent arc. Okay. And
how old is he? He's your age.
He's
exactly.
He's
your
26.
age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so 26. Come on. I mean, that's excusable, right? I'm just kidding. But the big thing though is basically through going on this Islamic arc, I guess you could say, he started debating people like Destiny, right? Because that's content. Obviously, Destiny's whole content is debating more or less, right?
Yeah.
And Sneako tried to keep up with him and whatever. And so Sneako's like debating Destiny about, Islam, whatever. And he keeps getting faced with this contradiction of like, Destiny would basically say, the Prophet Muhammad married a 9-year-old, okay? And this is something that I do not want to get that deep into, okay? I'm not a hater of Islam in the slightest. Like, I think there's probably a lot of nuance to it, but the point is, Sneako's horrible at defending it, and his way of defending that is basically more or less, over time, he's like talked to many Muslim scholars, and it's like, the general vibe is like, especially what Sneako pulls from it, right? Because he usually doesn't have the most refined takes, but it's like, age of consent doesn't really matter, it's about age of maturity, okay? And so, now, with this Ava Chris Tyson situation, Sneako's basically saying, okay, yeah, Ava Chris Tyson, demonic, pushing these values that are, a net negative to kids. They're trying to indoctrinate kids, right? Which is the evil part.
Okay.
But also he's riding the contradiction of age of consent. Like, like you can't really groom a kid, basically.
Yeah, that is a contradiction.
I want to get your visceral reaction to.
I'm scared.
Okay, you know what? I won't show you anything then.
No, show me.
Okay, I'll find it, but let me start though by saying, there's a term. You familiar with fresh and fit?
No.
Oh, that's great.
Like
no, it's fantastic. You don't need go on.
Well groomed.
You would think, but no, fresh and fit are like the kind of you've probably here. Let me just look them up real quick.
Fresh and fit.
Yeah, here we go. Okay. Whoa. Let's see.
Are these like interviewers?
These are kind of interviewers. I guess you could put it like that. I want to introduce you to their world a little bit.
Okay.
Man, oh god.
Women are lazy.
Yeah. It's so basically their general mentality, okay? To kind of summarize what I was gonna get at. Yeah, their whole content is basically shitting on women. It's like profitable, it's whatever. Back to talking about Sneako arguing against the edge of consent, okay?
Yeah.
So this is the kind of the strange, contradiction that he's navigating. It's not bad that Chris Tyson was grooming, potentially. It's bad that they're trans, and MrBeast encourages this, okay? So, Penguin Zero, Mosticritical, are you familiar with this fellow?
No.
Charlie? You're
No.
not familiar at all. Man.
Charlie.
This is so great. I'm so glad that you don't know any of this.
Yeah, me too.
Charlie, yeah. So maybe if I just show you a picture of our friend.
Okay, show me a pic.
Yeah. Let's see. So it's this guy. Have you seen this guy?
Oh, I've seen that guy a million times.
Yeah, he's always on the homepage and always.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. He's everyone's favorite person ever. He's one of my favorite people. I do like Mosticritical.
Like him.
I'm a big fan. Yes, I have been a fan of Critical since probably, I don't know, at least 8 years, at least probably 9 or 10 years. Back when his big thing is he's known for his like deep monotone voice, but then he'll be really funny. Like he'll just drop just sayings where it's like, how the fuck did he even think of that? But always in a monotone voice. Anyway, he used to tell stories and stuff like that, and I always thought they were very funny. Nowadays, obviously, he is much more of an icon. Like 15 million subscribers is crazy.
Insane.
Yes, and he's a bit of a thought leader. He is one of, I guess, the most subscribed commentators on Earth, which is pretty incredible. Anyway, he caught whiff of Sneako's opinion, basically, from what I understand, and he was like, wait a minute. Wait. there's no way that Sneako's arguing against the age of consent. That doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
Like that doesn't. He clearly was not as familiar with Sneako's game as I am. Do you understand?
You're like, no, this is what he does.
I'm like, this is the meta, bro. This is the meta. And you know why it's the meta? It's because he successfully baits people like Critical, who have a massive platform, into debating Sneako about these issues that are like, crazy.
Yeah.
And so here's my appraisal. Okay, so Penguin Zero's version of the events is basically him saying that, and I, to a degree, definitely believe him. He saw Sneako giving these opinions where it's like age of consent should not be, a thing, whatever. And he was like, there's no way that Sneako's thinking that. I have to talk to this guy. I have to see if this is actually what he believes. And then he frames it as though basically Sneako kind of baited him into a debate when he actually just wanted to have a conversation. He didn't know it would be like live streamed. He didn't realize that Sneako was live streaming.
Okay.
And so it was just like a conversation, I guess, that they were having. In reality, Sneako knew exactly what he was doing. It was absolutely a debate. Sneako was already live, and he didn't necessarily try seemingly to, lie about that. Like, he wasn't lying. He wasn't just streaming and lying about it. It's just that Mosticritical assumed that he wasn't streaming for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so basically Mosticritical got roped into this debate on age of consent, and you would think this would be a sweep. It would be like an easy kind of debate. It's like, well, hey man, it's bad to fuck kids as an adult.
Boom.
We did it. Hell yeah.
Smoked.
We fucking did it. But unfortunately, he got dragged into the abyss a little bit. Okay. So this is, let me paint you a picture. Okay. I talk about these guys who get banned on platforms, right? Like Sneako, okay, who was famously banned off of YouTube and off of Twitter. Sorry, he was banned off Twitter, and then Elon Musk came and he was like, jailbreak. Oh yeah, everybody gets a jailbreak. But he did get banned off of Instagram as well.
Okay.
He's been banned. And so these guys, when they get banned off of these, like, mainstream media kind of tier platforms, they end up going to places like Rumble, places like Kick. You might be vaguely familiar with these places. But basically, yeah, that's for the best. But, like, these are where the lost souls are basically, inhabiting, okay?
Okay.
And so when you become a Kick or a Rumble streamer, right, these are platforms you're not familiar with. So the fact that you're not familiar with them means that 99.9% of people are not familiar with them, which means that the people who are on those websites watching that content know what they're looking for, and they're looking for the shit that will get most people banned off of the mainstream platforms. You understand? So you have a bunch of lost souls basically corralling on a certain website, and when you're on these, websites,
like shock sites, kind of.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, they try to make themselves seem more legit, whatever, but like, yes, shock sites. Like they're surviving because people can do what they cannot do on the mainstream sites. You understand?
Have you ever gone on a shock site before?
Like we're talking Live Leak, or what are we talking about?
Something like that.
Yeah,
like the old ones.
Yeah. I've done like Pain Olympics. I've gone through the gauntlet. Like, why? What are you getting at?
I'm just curious. I used to go on them when I was like 17. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. I know.
But you've never heard of any of these? What, like...
I used to go on something rotten, or what's one with rotten in it?
I'm not gonna lie, I was not ever like deep into this. I think I know what you're saying.
Look up rotten shock site.
Yeah. Shock site. Ron.com.
Ron.com. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not running anymore. It's like archived.
Yeah, same with Live Leak. Live Leak was like my, I guess.
That's yours.
Yeah. Would you consider things like one guy, one jar, two girls, one cup? Would you consider these things performance art?
Yeah. I mean.
Okay.
I think I would. What would you?
I would agree. It's pretty impressive to a certain extent, But yeah, I don't know. You were gonna say you haven't seen what?
I haven't seen one guy, one cup is he puts a cup and then it breaks.
It's one guy, one jar.
Oh,
and
so sorry.
And it was very important detail because that jar, it gets inserted and it breaks. It shatters. Yeah. And
do we know if that's real? Did it really?
I'm pretty sure it's real. I don't really care. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a weirdo. Okay, Maya, trust me, I'm not a weird guy, Okay. Yeah. And so I've never really sought this stuff out. It was more like sleepover type shit when I'm just with random friends or whatever. Isn't that cute?
So cute.
That's what you do when you're a 13, 12, 11-year-old hanging out with your friends you just watch a guy shove a jar up his ass and have it shatter. That's just what you do.
That's actually adorable. And dark and scary.
Yeah, I mean,
do you prank call people? No, people
Yeah,
don't
we
do
did
that anymore.
no, well, we used to do that.
Okay.
I'm not 13 now. I know I'm cute, but I'm not that cute. The big thing though is basically if we're gonna take it back, what we do here. Yes, let's take it back. So shock sites. So nowadays, people who regularly live stream on sites, not like that. Like these streaming sites, they're not for that kind of stuff necessarily, right? Because they hate sex work, right? You understand? So it's like they'll basically be okay with having like, you know, neo-Nazis or like, you know, like white nationalists or like I don't know, like yeah, sure, Tate has like a deal with Rumble, whatever. These are like basically the, I guess you could say from the mainstream's perspective, the undesirables, okay?
Right.
And that's like a Hillary, I guess, you know, the Hillary mainstream, they'd be like, yeah, no, we don't, get away. And so my whole thing is that when you're on these websites, the only way to like get popular and maintain popularity on these websites is basically to escalate how shocking this shit is.
Yeah.
So all that to say, Penguin Zero, I guess, Charlie, sorry, he was, I guess, for some reason not familiar that this was like Sneako's kind of strategy, more or less.
Okay.
And so he hears him basically saying age of consent shouldn't exist. And he's like, what the fuck? There's no way he actually means this. And he joins and he debates Sneako. And at the point where, you know, I guess most people would think like, yeah, it's bad for an adult to have sex with a kid or to like marry a child or whatever.
Yeah.
That usually you would imagine would be the end of the debate. I imagine that Penguin Zero, Charlie, imagined that would be the end of the debate. But Sneako basically, truly, just continued asking questions. He was like, why is that bad? What age exactly is like not acceptable versus acceptable? He basically was asking for like nuance, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas his whole argument was like, we have this hard line where it's like 18 years old, and if it's under 18 by a day, then you're a pedo, and if it's over 18 by a day, you're not, right? And he's basically trying to like argue for massaging or finessing nuance into like, oh, well, you know, is it the same thing if it's like a prearranged marriage where everyone's consenting? Obviously, he's ignoring the fact of like, well, the child wouldn't really be properly sentiently consenting. Yeah. But all this to say, Penguin Zero basically got into the mud with him, right? So Sneako's audience kind of drags him down, right? Mm-hmm. A little bit lower. And by basically stooping to talk to this fellow about this topic, he naturally he got dragged into the mud a little bit. And so,
question.
Yeah, what's the question?
You've got some Sneakoians in your.
Do I?
Well, don't you? Because you you pulled them.
I do.
Okay, so and how do they feel about you describing this?
I mean, if they think I'm misrepresenting him, if that's what you mean, I don't think I really am. Like that's pretty much like, believe it or not, like I think
they're like, yeah, this is what happened.
I think I'm actually being a bit degenerate. Or sorry, not degenerate. I'm being a bit generous.
Okay, you're being generous.
Yeah,
okay.
I am degenerate as well, but that's like a fucking side tangent. But the big thing though is yeah.
What?
I don't know. I'm just reading the chat. You kind of are. Yes, I'm kind of okay. Oh, I'm misrepresenting. Okay, wait. Almost Genius. Okay, I'm misrepresenting. Almost Genius, please, if you are, aware, more tuned in, please give me your summary. But it doesn't matter if it saved lives in the past. Flip side is a life-altering effects that are permanent. Right, so this is, now people are debating the legitimacy of being trans or whatever, which is not really what I wanted to get into. Okay. But this is the reason that they're doing that. Is because Sneako caught our boy Penguin Zero in a little trap. He caught his leg in a bear trap. And the bear trap was, they're talking basically about age of consent, and Charlie is like, absolutely not. Anything under the age of 18, not okay, basically. Like, and when Sneako was like, but why? Who decides that? Charlie was like, the law. The law decides that. Okay, the law is like, what we've agreed upon, whatever. Yeah. And Sneako wants to go a level deeper because he doesn't trust the government. He believes you should question laws. I would agree that like there's laws that should be questioned, and he brings that up, whatever. But like he's really like pushing for this whole, this like the obfuscating the age of consent thing, right? Whatever. And so it gets to a point basically where like Charlie Mosticritical has kind of set it up in a way where it's like kids cannot consent. They cannot consent. Kids cannot consent. Kids cannot consent. And then Sneako simply says, wait a minute, but do you think like a 9-year-old can go today and snip off their fucking penis and become trans? And to that, Mosticritical basically says, yes. And so that's where the internet like blew up, okay? And you see, we have this upload right here from our everyone's favorite dad, Mosticritical Situation's Crazy, where 8 million people basically see him address that comment, more or less. Because effectively what happened from that point is that everyone, it was like ravenous in the sense. It was like a lot of massive streamers came out and were like, that's fucking awful. This Mosticritical guy is fucked in the head. You know what I mean? He's like, obviously the people who were like super, you know, speaking out about this already didn't like trans people. Right. But the whole thing of like Sneako saying like, wait, so a 9-year-old can snip their penis off? He says yes. That's like instantly everyone's like, okay, this guy's a fucking idiot. Fuck this guy. Fuck this Mosticritical guy. And Sneako kind of optically takes the W or whatever, right? Like he kind of like leverages it. At the end of the day, in reality, obviously Sneako is a fucking loser or whatever you would say. Like he didn't win this debate just because of that or whatever. No. He it is funny though to see like how many people were like, yo, Sneako's kind of spitting, whatever, right? But,
oh my god.
But it is an interesting situation. In this video though, Mosticritical basically he kind of clarifies, he makes it clear he doesn't actually think a 9-year-old should be able to chop off their genitals. He thought that...
Well, that's not how it works.
Right, that's what he was saying. He was like, he was just in the conversation with Sneako. He was just... assumed Sneako was speaking with hyperbole or whatever. You know what I mean? Like sensationalizing it. And he was basically... He registered it in his head as like, yes, I think kids should be allowed to like consider transitioning or whatever. And he just said yes to that comment because he didn't really think that hard about it. But like the internet pretty much blew up immediately after. And he got a lot of flack, a lot of heat. And all of this basically to say we are now at a point where there's a lot of people who suddenly are questioning, you know, the efficacy or the legitimacy of our boy Charlie, the protagonist in this story, his, you know, legitimacy as a commentator, right? Like as a thought.
What? After just one thing? That's so unfair.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm a Charlie, you know, Mosticritical simp, okay? So I'm a little bit impartial, I guess you could say. I'm also, you could definitely designate me as a Sneako hater, okay? No, hey, you know, maybe I wouldn't say I hate anybody, you know, but certainly you could definitely, in terms of like, in terms of ranking me, you could definitely put me up there with people who disagree with Sneako pretty passionately. Okay. But in this case, the real fuck up, in my head at least, is Mosticritical underestimating Sneako, right? Like thinking that, number one, okay, if I had to guess, in reality, a big part of why Charlie partook in this conversation was partially because he was like, okay, this guy's trying to justify the age of consent being abolished. This is, like, I can't lose this conversation. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he might have been a little bit overconfident in that way. The thing that is a little bit tragic to me, it is a little bit of a blind spot of Mosticritical or Charlie, and he says it in this video. He acknowledges it, right? Like, I'm not shit-talking him, but he basically says, like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude. I'm not like the fucking master debater. Yeah. I'm not the arbiter of the correct opinion. I just give my take. It's usually not that deep. Like, he basically acknowledges what he is, which is like, yeah, I'm just like a random guy that is way more, you know, influential than he should be. Which is kind of wholesome.
That is fair. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to dealing with Sneako, the reason that he was so emboldened in my head, right, to have this interaction, I think, is because, and I don't know if you caught wind of this, but Penguin Zero had a famous little back and forth with Sneako, okay? Where basically Sneako was showing pictures of Penguin Zero's girlfriend on stream. Okay, so he was like, you know, this is his girl. All right, and Charlie, our boy Penguin Zero, he didn't clap back with anything too serious or whatever. He basically just made a video like, dude, you're a fucking loser. Yeah. And so that just that video, which garnered many millions of views, just calling Sneako basically a loser, more or less. I think it got like, fuck. Oh, yeah. I didn't want to talk about this. This got like 7 million.
I mean it when I say I didn't really want to talk about today's topic. It's just some medium rare internet beef that I think is just kind of worthless to go over, but so many people keep bringing it up to me that I feel I should at least talk about it to some extent. So I'll go ahead and cannonball into the septic tank and doggy paddle around for a bit. The main topic involves a banned YouTube creator that I'm sure you've all heard of before. His name is Sneako. A lot of people compared him to like a diet Andrew Tate. He recently got banned, and he still does make content elsewhere. And recently he started targeting me because I made jokes about his friends on the Fresh and Fit podcast.
And so we brought it full circle. You remember
Yeah.
I was bringing up Fresh and Fit? So yeah, Fresh and Fit's thing is that, yes, they shit on women, but they don't say that that's what they do, but that is what they do. But what they say that they do is they say, we're basically just trying to empower men. We're trying to teach men how to, assert themselves, how to gain their own confidence, whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously, the thing that sells, the thing they make their money off of mainly is they live in Miami. So that's already quite, a specific, let's just say specific demographic, right? They live right at the beaches in Miami, and they manage to get a bunch of women who don't really know what the fuck is necessarily going on, but they understand, like, okay, I can get clout from this. Yeah, whatever. This is like fun. They go bring on their friends. Sometimes they're drunk, whatever. Anyway, they basically like own them in debates. Okay. Anyway, Fresh and Fit, they have this whole thing where it's like they don't call it grooming. Okay. This fascinated me when I first heard it. I want to hear your reaction. I'm sure it's gonna be real positive, but. Basically, they have this mentality where it's like, okay, whoa, it's not grooming. That's not correct, okay? It's what you want to do is when you're, first interacting with a woman, you want to see if she is coachable, okay? So coachable is the way that it's framed, which basically means, will this woman just do what you ask, and will they coalesce to what you desire more or less, right? Like, are they basically willing to make changes to adapt to what you are desiring, right? Do you understand?
What's an example of that?
So
why don't they just choose somebody who already shares their values?
Right. Yeah. So that's a great question, and I think that a big part of the answer is because their values are pretty antagonistic to most women having agency, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I mean, okay. So like coachable. What does coachable mean? It's like, okay, if she has an Instagram and she has, first of all, I'm pretty sure that Fresh and Fit typically they'll advocate for like just get her to remove Instagram or whatever. I think that's usually what they say. If they don't say that, they basically say like, yes, okay, definitely not any kind of like scantily clad images, anything like that. And so if she's willing to go with that, then you keep going basically with the relationship. You keep seeing more or less where it'll go. Their whole thing is like they'll pay for like the dinners, they'll pay for whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? They'll finance more or less like the woman's lifestyle. But then obviously they'll complain that obviously like women only care about money, but they want to finance it because they want that like leverage or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, coachable generally, I'm pretty confident that what they mean by it is it's essentially like, is she, like
manipulatable?
Yeah, exactly. Is she malleable? Does she desire being with you enough to potentially change characteristics about her, personality, lifestyle that you don't like, right?
Why not just date like a religious woman?
Well, a religious woman might have hang-ups about sexual favors, or perhaps they would care more about God and serving God than, the guy that they're seeing, right?
They're gonna be like, you have to give up God for me.
Yeah.
Tell
it's
me
like,
how much you can give up God.
Yeah, it's like the level 100 version of like, man, she loves her cat more than me.
Oh my god.
Cat's got to go. We got to kill the cat.
I gotta do it.
We got to kill God. But no, I would say, in general. So this is like the breeding grounds for a lot of resentment, obviously, toward women, right? Because Fresh and Fit, they're still on YouTube. These guys.
Okay.
They've had a lot of controversies, but YouTube is still, they're still on there. Now, they did get demonetized, right? They've had little like controversies, like I was saying, but Fresh and Fit are still on. This is like a big part of Sneako's kind of circle nowadays because they host Sneako. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense, right? Like Sneako goes on and debates with them, and he does pretty well. He plays off the women. He debate bros them and whatever the fuck. All this like kind of makes sense. Penguin Zero. Okay, to give you the full context here, what he's describing. He made a video basically, okay, there's two guys in Fresh and Fit, Myron and Fresh? No, Fresh, yeah. Fresh Prince, that's right. Yeah, so these two. You've probably seen these two, no?
I think I've seen pictures of them, yeah.
Okay, all right. Hell yeah. So yeah, this guy basically, he had a story, some kind of story where he had, I think it was like a threesome or something like this. Anyway, Penguin Zero basically just made a, pretty lazy video. He just basically said, yeah, this guy's just bullshitting, whatever, just kind of shitting on him generally. Okay. Sneako took offense to that, and so as a result of taking offense to that, he basically shit on Mosticritical, and it's like, you're saying my friend can't get in a threesome? Look at your girlfriend, you know what I mean? Look at who you can bag.
Oh,
whatever, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Are you afraid that Sneako's gonna go after you?
I would not say that I'm afraid. I would say he is more afraid. Yeah, like here's the thing, right? I would love to talk to Sneako. I would absolutely. I would be more than willing to engage with him the way that Penguin Zero did. But this guy is conscious. Okay, Penguin Zero, Charlie, our good friend. Okay, He has one superpower, but it's also his greatest weakness. He is sincere. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so when he heard Sneako saying something so stupid, he was like, my goodness, even though I dislike this guy so much, there's no way that
help him.
I have to just throw him a line. Okay?
Yeah.
And this sincerity was obviously taken advantage of, right? By Sneako. And that sincerity, right? That's not something that... like I would be privy. Let's just put it like that, right? I would be very privy, and I would know a little bit more. I think how to handle a guy like Sneako, not just because I've seen more or less, the worst of his content, but also because I'm just so insincere. No, I'm kidding. But like, it's basically a situation where like Sneako knows that he talks to this guy in any context, even if it's literally him justifying pedophilia. Mm-hmm. That's a dub. And he was correct. It was a dub. Like, it was a massive dub. Like, people suddenly think Sneako's, like, sensible somehow. It's incredible. Think about that. It's wild. It's impressive. I have to give it to him. It's very impressive. But when he would theoretically talk to somebody like me, there's not that much to gain. And not only is there not that much to gain, there's much to lose, because I would steal his fucking audience. Do you understand?
And you've already stolen.
Right. That's exactly correct. So like
the
the whole thing, like I don't know if you've seen the White Rabbit thing that I kind of pulled off or whatever.
With Sneako?
Yeah, with Sneako.
Well, I know you made him watch his like down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Okay, yeah. So that you have to understand, that was like his core fan base. All saw that, right? And so that's why I get blocked by Sneako on Twitter, right? And most people...
he's afraid of you.
Well, yeah, but it's logical. I'm not saying that because he's necessarily a coward, but it's like completely logical. He has nothing to gain by interacting with me, and he has everything to lose, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe not everything, but a decent amount. Whereas with this guy, he's got everything to gain, because guess what? Believe it or not, our boy, he has a huge audience, number one, but also number two, he doesn't spend, believe this or not, he does not spend all day thinking of ways to justify pedophilia. Do you understand? So he isn't as well versed in the tactics and the debate tactics and that Sneako would employ, right?
He wasn't expecting anything. He wasn't expecting that. He wasn't expecting to be filmed either, right? Yeah. Although I would say that's just bullshit in my opinion. Like he should have expected that, and I think he did. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, dude, like this is the fucking internet, and you're dealing with Sneako. Like, you can't be that naive, in my opinion. Okay. But yes, I think that he actually was sincerely coming at it from like, dude, let's have a conversation here. And Sneako was kind of owning him in like a debate like kind of like antagonistic way, more or less, right? Yeah. Sneako would probably say something very different. He would basically say that he's a fucking NPC, he's a bot, his opinions are programmed, right? Which to a degree is true. Like we all, to a degree, we all have programmed opinions, right? But just because they're programmed doesn't inherently mean they're wrong. Just because you can't justify your, programmed opinions, it doesn't mean that you are, incorrect. It just might mean that you're not as good at justifying how you think, right?
And so that's kind of, I'd say that's the biggest crime, like the biggest thing that people are criticizing Charlie for, is it's like, wait a minute, you're the biggest commentator on the earth, and you can't even really back up your own thoughts. It's like you default to it's the law or whatever. It's not philosophical, basically, right? Now, I don't think you need to get that fucking philosophical when it comes to age of consent. I think anybody who spends too much time thinking about it, it's obviously strange. But sure, you can have a philosophical debate about the age of consent. Charlie just clearly did not want that. And he clearly...
People have already had, like, this debate before. It's already, like, I don't know, there's already probably intellectuals that have had this conversation already.
I mean, okay, but the thing is, okay, if you look at the intellectuals who have had this debate, like, a lot of them actually do advocate against the age of consent.
Oh.
Yeah. So if we're talking like especially French, like there was a big referendum, I think it was, in France in like the 60s.
Okay.
To, I think, either lower or abolish it, even though it was already low. And it's like, yeah, like like a lot of the famous intellectuals of the time were like, philosophically, it doesn't make sense, right?
I think I have heard this.
Well, yeah,
before.
Foucault's gotten nailed for this. Anyway, I don't know. There's a few, French intellectuals who kind of gotten nailed for this. I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not as interested because I don't know. You might think that's like, I guess, anti-philosophical or whatever. I could think harder about it. I just think that I would have countered Sneako in different ways, right? I wouldn't have played into his traps, right? Because at the entire time, you can tell, like, Mosticritical, he's just not privy to the traps, right? Like, that's pretty much, I guess, what I would more or less say.